Hello everyone, in this video I am going to give you the do's and don'ts of holistic wellness. So these are going to be things that you would want to write down, take some notes, because a lot of the things that people do are things that you shouldn't do, and you might not be aware of some of the alternatives of the ways that you can do them. So I'm going to give you all of that in this video. So the first one is: do free or inexpensive practices. Do not do fancy, expensive gadgets. So this is a theme of the stuff that I teach, because really when it comes down to is all of the things that are free or inexpensive are things that our ancestors used to do. They are things that are natural. Because when you think about it, if somebody has something wrong with their body, mind, or their soul, the solution is not a bunch of money for a fancy gadget that was just invented a year ago. That is just doesn't make any sense. So be sure that the things that you are doing are not these, you don't have to spend a lot of money, basically, put it that way. So do time-tested methods and practices. Do not do fads and trendy methods and practices. So this is a little bit like the other one. Basically, this goes along with the other one because time-tested things are usually free and inexpensive. And fads and trendy things are usually expensive, and they are basically somebody that's just trying to sell you something because they know that people struggle with these things. So they're like, okay, I'm going to invent this cool thing that everybody's going to have to buy, and it's going to be like $500. And that's just not the way that it works when it comes to health. Because, like I just said a minute ago, the things that our ancestors did were free or inexpensive, and they are time tested, so there is no need for you to run around and chase all of these trendy, expensive fads. Now this goes for almost anything at all when it comes to health. I mean, like, there's a lot of books out there, there's a lot of diets out there, there's a lot of gadgets, there's a lot of methods of systems that are just complicated, and it just does not need to be that complicated. The next one is: do use holistic wellness as prevention. Do not use holistic wellness as the only treatment. So there's a lot of wording here I want to go through. So prevention is obviously keeping yourself healthy before you get sick, and when it comes to treatment, that's something that you turn to after you've already gotten to the point where things are not going to help you unless it's like an intervention, like surgery or pills or things like that, that you don't really want to, you don't want it to come to that. But if it does come to that, there are a lot of things that work a lot better than holistic wellness. So holistic wellness is used for prevention. But so the reason why I said do not do the only treatment, because you can use holistic wellness alongside of your treatment. Like, it's the kind of thing where everything is going to do some good. Eating healthy is going to do good. Getting the right sleep is going to do good. But I would not rely on those things as the only way that you can beat a disease. And this is something that I've mentioned many times because, unfortunately, a lot of people look at holistic wellness as the easy way out. All I really have to do is take herbs and I'll never get cancer. That's not correct. And so I like to make sure that people understand that if you do have a serious illness or disease or cancer, you can use holistic things as a support, but it is not meant to be the only treatment. So do not make that mistake. The next one is: do things on a regular basis. Do not try something whenever you can. So this sounds like it would be a good thing to try things whenever you can, but that isn't really going to work towards your overall wellness. It's really just gonna give you maybe like a good feeling in the moment that you tried something. But really, when it comes to building a lifestyle and making things a habit, what really needs to happen is that these things are done on a regular basis. So what that means is you don't want to do something once every 12 days. Maybe you'll do it 2 days in a row, but then you'll skip, and then maybe you'll do it 14 days after that. That's not going to get you results. So remember to do things on a regular basis, either steady or every day. So when I say steady, you can do things every other day, and you can also do things maybe once a week, depending on what the thing is, as long as it's consistent. So one example of that would be something where you are cleansing your body. So doing a cleanse once in your life is probably not going to help you too much. But if you do a cleanse maybe once a month or once every time the season changes, which is actually really recommended in Ayurveda, at least during the spring and the fall, that's when it really does the most good, is when it's regular. So like it would depend on the thing, but most things should be done either on a daily basis or a weekly basis. Do try a variety of foods. Do not stick to the same foods. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I had to mention it because I know that there's a lot of people out there who try eating healthier, and what they do is they'll find like a couple of recipes and they'll just love those recipes so much that maybe they'll eat them a couple times a week. So throughout their week, they're really only getting maybe 10% of all the food that there is out there. So, I mean, you got to give yourself credit for trying new healthy foods, but at the same time, you want a variety in the same way that doing things on a regular basis is good for you, the same way that eating a variety of foods is good for you, because you are getting all of the things that you need from the foods, and you're spreading them out over a lot of time. So it's not good to eat the same food all the time. Like even if you were to eat, let's say, nuts and seeds are good for you, but you do not want to eat them for breakfast and dinner, and then the other meal would be maybe something like rice and beans. You do not want to eat rice, beans, and nuts every single day because you're not getting the variety. So here's a good tip. Try the rainbow diet. The rainbow diet is a really good way to get a variety of foods because every food color under the rainbow has different minerals and nutrients in it. And that's a really great place to start if you are kind of stuck on the same foods all the time. I actually have a planner in my Etsy shop that's called the Healthy Foods Planner. I think I'm forgetting. I've got so many now that I forget what they're called, but it's basically like the rainbow diet. And it's got a list of all of the food colors, like everything that's green, everything that's purple, everything that's blue. And then, you go down the list and you have options of what to pick from. And you know that you're going to be getting all the stuff you need when you can, spread out all those colors over, a week, say. And do the same with vegetables. There's so many vegetables out there. Don't just eat potatoes and corn and carrots. Because those are actually some of the least nutrient-dense vegetables out there. So what you really want to do is just find the things that you like and try new things. Getting a food journal is a really good way to do this, or a food planner, like a diet planner. And I've got some of those in my shop as well. And so they will give you lists of all of the foods that are out there, and you can pick and choose. And you know that if you are finding a good variety, and you're spreading it out over the week, so you're not just eating the same thing every day, you're not eating the same 3 meals all week, then you're going to be getting you're upping your chances of getting all of the right minerals, nutrients, and all that stuff, which is great, of course. The next one is do work on all 3 together. Do not focus on only one aspect of holistic wellness. So this basically means that you do not want to focus on your physical health and then let your mind and your spirit just go. What you want to do is make sure that you're paying attention to all three together. And that might sound like a lot of work, because if you don't have time to do one, why would you have time to do three? But really, if you learn more about the stuff that I teach, a lot of the things are overlapping, and a lot of them are not time consuming. They're basically just ways that you do things. So it's not a whole lot of work at all to work on your body, mind, and soul all at the same time. So a good example of this would be when you get up in the morning, you probably are going to have a morning routine, and one of those things that you might do would be journaling or doing yoga, and both of those two things are good for your body, mind, and your soul. So try to find things like that that are good for all three. Try to find things that you can do that are overlapping. So let's say you're eating lunch and you're eating in a mindful way, eating slow, chewing your food, you're sitting down, you're relaxed, you're not on your phone. That's going to be good for your physical body because your digestion is loving you for, taking care of it in such an awesome way. But then also, while you are taking care of your physical body, your mind is also being taken care of because you're not, you're mindful. It's all about mindful. If you can put the mindfulness in everything you do, then that's great. And also, spiritual things are really awesome too. I've actually got a couple videos about some spiritual daily routine activities that you can do while you are doing other things. And, it really is not hard at all to focus on all three: body, mind, and soul. So don't make the mistake of working on just one. And I know a lot of people do this with the body. They think, I want to be healthy, so I'm going to eat right and exercise. And they think that's all they have to do. And they're totally neglecting their mental health. They're totally neglecting their connection with their soul. You need all three. Do make sure your practices complement each other. Do not do conflicting practices that negate each other. So this is just a fancy way of saying, don't do some really awesome things and then turn around and do something that's going to completely balance out that thing. So one example of this is the obvious one, which would be eating and exercise. So let's say you have a day where you do really good with your eating, like you have a leafy green salad, you have some baked salmon, some squash, and some berries. That's a really great amount of food there. But then, you don't want to be eating something really good like that and then plopping yourself on the couch and not moving for 5 hours. So there's a lot of examples of that in holistic wellness, because there's so many practices that you can do. And then there's also some that will, all the bad habits that will negate all the good things that you do. So don't make this mistake of thinking that since you're doing one good thing, that means you can do 2 other bad things. It's kind of, it's not good that way. Maybe 1 for 1, like if you do one good thing and you do one bad thing, it would have to be a really, really good thing, and don't do the bad thing quite so often. But once you tip the scales to where you're doing more bad than good, then all the good is not doing any good. I hope that made sense. So if you're interested in learning more about holistic wellness, I've got a video that covers just the basic foundations, and this is a great place to start as well. And be sure to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and I see you again in the next video.